Please don't characterize the strength that I bring to this meeting. I tried to say, let's not have this conversation in the public domain because you're saying things that we have to contradict because they're not true. And he said, oh, I want the public to see. Well, you want them to see that you don't know what you're talking about? Really?
Here's what you've said. You've said, if someone's ripping your face off, you rip their face off.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
And that's what it was like. Now, you know, you have this...
yeah, I probably said that, you know. They just have to know. You throw a punch, you better take a punch.
From a grandmother.
Yeah.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on building a reputation for not backing down to anyone, even the leader of the free world. The Speaker of the House tops a formidable list of women all over the age of 50 who did what many chose not to do, stand up to Donald Trump. We're going to get to that in a moment, but first a quick explanation of the significance of being over 50. Know Your Value is teaming up with Forbes for a special 50 over 50 list to celebrate the women who have achieved significant success after the age of 50, women who are overcoming barriers and shattering misconceptions about age and gender. They're hanging in there. The project coincides with much of the world navigating how to reopen amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. And if this past year has taught us anything, it's the need to find and utilize under-tapped talent, unrecognized talent. Let's bring in Chief Content Officer of Forbes Media and editor of Forbes, Randall Lane. And this morning, Randall, we're looking at the 3 women over 50 who have most stood up to Trump. So let's go through it, and then we'll talk about the project. Nancy Pelosi tops the list. Yep. Tell us why.
Yeah, well, you know, I've probably interviewed Donald Trump a dozen times, and you've done it many more times. And we know the words he loves: best, biggest, richest, tallest, smartest. The one word he doesn't like is no. And Nancy Pelosi is very good and has been very good over the last 4 years at saying no. She's talked about how, you know, as a mother and a grandmother, she knows how to say no when someone's misbehaving. She's used that analogy. And she said no at the right time. So that's, you know, this is somebody who maybe it's a Lifetime Achievement Award for standing up to Donald Trump over the last 4 years.
Casey Hunt.
So tell me a little bit about number 2, because Liz Cheney and Speaker Pelosi likely agree on very little from an ideological perspective, but they both have pushed back against this president at a time when, frankly, other people, I probably shouldn't say what I really mean on TV, but didn't have the, we'll go with guts, didn't have the guts to do it.
Well, you know, when you think about like when JFK, he won a Pulitzer Prize for Profiles in Courage. Liz Cheney is exactly what he wrote about and was writing about, where you make a decision based on principle and not based on politics. The politics for her are bad. She already has a primary challenger lined up in Wyoming. You already have the Freedom Caucus looking to take her out of GOP leadership from her number 3 slot. But, you know, it's what she said on the floor. There's never been a greater betrayal by a president of his office and his oath than Donald Trump. I mean, that is truly doing something based on principle, not on what benefits. And Liz Cheney, 54 years old, you know, has seen enough to know that she wants to stand up for what she believes.
You know, as we look at these women, Nancy Pelosi absolutely representing strength over time, consistent strength, and Liz Cheney representing courage. I mean, she really stood up when there are dozens of grown men in Washington on Capitol Hill with a lot of power who just didn't have the courage to stand up, and she did. She did it alone, and it's really an incredible story, and I can't have more respect for her for that. The next woman on the list, I think, is about the word impact. And we don't know her that well. We don't know where she came from. We don't know what she's about, but she did something incredible. Randall, tell us about Teresa Shook. Who is she? Where'd she come from? What did she do?
Well, what's great about this initiative is we have over 10,000 people have already applied for this list. So we see all sorts of amazing names of people we're not as familiar with. And Teresa Shook's one of them. You don't need to be a congresswoman to make a difference. Teresa Shook's 70 years old, a retired lawyer, a grandmother with a Facebook account. And that was it. And what she did right after Donald Trump won 4+ years ago, was she went on into a Facebook group and just wrote a very impassioned note about how we need to have a march. We women need to have a march to stand up to this election. And what happened then was the Women's March in 2017, the day after the Trump inaugural, which turned out to be larger than the Trump inaugural. And this is a woman who had no background as a active. She just made it. She posted, it went viral, and then she made it happen.
Wow. So, Randall, before you go, tell us about the significance of this list, 50 over 50. When's it coming out, and how has the response been? What is really driving Forbes to get behind this?
Well, again, we're thrilled to be partnered with you. The response has been incredible. Over 10,000 nominations, and nominations are still open. And I think we hit a nerve. You're absolutely right. This is an untapped, under-tapped resource. These are incredible people who have actually overcome. I mean, women over 50 have really been pioneers for a lot of the women behind them. When they entered the workforce, it was a lot harder than it is now, and we still have a ways to go. But these are women who know how to get things done and want to make a difference. And we've been finding just incredible stories that we're excited to share.
Forbes' Randall Lane, thank you so much. We're just getting started. Each week here on Morning Joe, we're going to have a conversation with Randall and others around women who have achieved significant success after the age of 50. And if you know someone who is shattering age and gender norms and would like to nominate her for our 50 over 50 feature, be sure to go to knowyourvalue.com or to Forbes.com and click on 50 over 50 to learn more. By the way, you can nominate yourself, so know your value. Randall, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.